Welcome to Weekly World News on Spring Nectar TV, brought to you by Vibha Ramesh, Los Angeles, United States. First, the top headlines. Truckers' protests leave US-Canada border closed. Indian lab studies monkeys in natural setting. Putin hints at scope for negotiation over Ukraine. UK scientists warn of new COVID strain to be deadly. Explosion kills 8 in France. Moving on to news in detail. Protests carried out by truckers demanding the withdrawal of the vaccination pass mandate had left one of the most important US-Canada bridges closed. On Sunday, police had attempted to disperse the remainder of the protesters and make the critical cross-country bridge operational. And by afternoon, after several warnings and arrests, the demonstrators retreated. However, the bridge was kept closed to the public and there's no news yet as to when it would be opened to traffic. In the words of Drew Dilkins, mayor of Windsor, today our national economic crisis at the Ambassador Bridge came to an end. Border crossings will reopen when it is safe to do so, and I defer to police and border agencies to make that determination. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, the investigating committee on the Jan 6 Capitol attack issued subpoenas to 6 individuals involved in the Trump-related scheme. The subpoenas are intended to elicit cooperation from the abettors to shed more light on the schema of electoral rigging. To that end, Congressman Benny Thompson remarked that we're seeking records and testimony from former campaign officials and other individuals in various states who we believe have relevant information about the planning and implementation of those plans. Moving on to India, statistics on COVID vaccination among children show that more than 70% of children in the age group of 15 to 18 have received at least one dose of Covaxin. This goes to show that the majority of the stepping soon into adulthood individuals have initiated vaccination. To this end, Health Minister Mandavia said that Young India is further strengthening the world's largest vaccination drive. Over 70% of our youngsters between 15 to 18 age group have received their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. Meanwhile, on Monday, a hidden inventory of arms was recovered in Poonch, a district in Jammu and Kashmir. Said a police source, acting on specific intelligence inputs, a joint team of the Army and Jammu and Kashmir police launched a coordinated search operation in a village along the line of control. During the operation, the security forces recovered arms and ammunition, including one AK-47 rifle, a magazine, 2 pistols, and pistol magazines each. And interesting news from Bengaluru has it that scientists at the Indian Institute of Science have found a unique method to study and train monkeys. In their approach, unlike the conservative way, the macaque monkeys that are used for the study are allowed to move freely and do things they would normally do in a natural setting. According to an associate professor of the Center for Neuroscience, the existing approach prevents studying vision in more natural settings and also natural and social behaviors. We, therefore, decided to turn this on its head by bringing a specialized lab into the monkey's home. Over to Russia. With Ukraine sitting on the verge of being invaded and the rest of the world chipping in their support, President Putin suggested that negotiations are still a possibility over Ukraine. To that end, Foreign Minister Lavrov confirmed that during his dialogue with Putin, he asserted that there is scope for discussions on a security deal. In his words, he said to Putin, "It seems to me that our possibilities are far from being exhausted. They certainly should not continue indefinitely. But at this stage, I would suggest that they continue and be intensified." He also added, "We warn against endless conversations on issues that need to be resolved today. Still, as the foreign minister, I should say that there is always a chance." And on Wednesday, the Ukrainian president affirmed his stance on the situation as he addressed the country by saying, "We're not afraid of forecasts. We're not afraid of anyone, of any enemies. We will defend ourselves. We have a wonderful, strong armed forces. We have excellent diplomats, volunteer forces, and national resistance forces throughout Ukraine." And in Spain, a fishing boat was reported to have sunk off the coast of Canada on Tuesday, leaving 10 people dead and 11 people missing. To that effect, the Villa de Petanso is believed to have gone down after sending distress signals some 280 miles off the Newfoundland coast. Rescue operations are underway to find the missing people. The Maritime Rescue Service said that an air and sea operation has been launched to rescue the 24 crew members of the Villa de Petanso fishing vessel, a 50-meter-long fishing boat that operates from Marine in Pontevedra. The fact that we've already found 3 survivors in a life raft gives us that hope that others were able to either get into their survival suits, get into life rafts, and get off the vessel. Following the incident, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez tweeted, "We're following the search and rescue effort for the crew of the Galician boat that sank off Newfoundland with worry and concern. All my love to their families." Moving on, Saudi Arabia made a big investment in green projects rivaling Singapore and Norway. Subsequently, Saudi Arabia transferred shares to the tune of $80 billion to the kingdom's sovereign wealth fund. The move was confirmed by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who said that the transfer was part of the kingdom's long-term strategy to support the restructuring of its economy. He also added that plans are on to have around $1 trillion in the fund by 2025. Moving on to the United Kingdom, leading scientists have brought to the attention of the world the fatal impact of a future variant of COVID-19. This revelation may have a direct influence on the UK's plans to lift the last of its COVID restrictions next week. The danger of the yet-to-come variant was highlighted by Professor Mark Woolhouse as he said, "The Omicron variant did not come from the Delta variant. It came from a completely different part of the virus's family tree. And since we don't know where in the virus's family tree a new variant is going to come from, we cannot know how pathogenic it could be. It could be less pathogenic, but it could just as easily be more pathogenic." His theory was supported by Professor Lawrence Young of Warwick University, who remarked that people seem to think there has been a linear evolution of the virus from alpha to beta to delta to Omicron. But that is simply not the case. The idea that virus variants will continue to get milder is wrong. A new one could turn out to be even more pathogenic than the Delta variant, for example, he said. Meanwhile, investigation of the parties at Number 10 during peak lockdown has left Prime Minister Boris Johnson time until Friday to refute any wrongdoing. To that extent, he is required to fill in a questionnaire which will be kept confidential by the Met Police. His answers will be pivotal in deciding on a penalty if proven guilty or in dismissing the case if not guilty. Meanwhile, Juan Hernandez, former president of Honduras, was arrested on Tuesday on account of charges for drug trafficking and weapons. Waiting for a warrant from the Supreme Court, around 100 police officers were laying in wait around his house on Monday. And on Tuesday noon, as Fernandez left his home, he was handcuffed and taken to the Special Forces base. News has it that he played a crucial role since 2004 in the trafficking of nearly 500,000 kilos of cocaine. And in 2021, he had commented that it was the drug traffickers taking revenge on him by passing their crime onto his shoulders, as he said, "They found the magic key to go unpunished, surrender and negotiate, and accuse the institutions for putting them behind bars." Moving on, an explosion in a 3-storied building in southern France took away the lives of at least 8 people, including a baby. The fire was known to have started at 1:30 a.m. on the first floor of the building and spread rapidly onto 2 neighboring properties. The French Interior Minister confirmed the death toll but also added that unfortunately the work of the firefighters and other services is not finished, so this may not be definite. Prime Minister Jean Castex sent his condolences to the bereaved and lauded the efforts of the firefighters and first responders. We'll keep you posted on this as it unfolds. With that, we come to the last item in this week's report. Did you know? Well, we're not aliens to locks and padlocks of varying sizes. But did you know that the world's largest padlock weighs 916 pounds? That's a whopping 415.5 kilograms, roughly the weight of a female polar bear. The padlock is known to have been created by a team of teachers and students of Pavlovo Arts College in Russia. Measuring about 56.8 inches in height, 41.3 inches wide, and 10.2 inches deep, the padlock is recognized as the heaviest by the Guinness World Records. With that, we come to the end of this week's news report. I'll see you again next Friday with more world news on Spring Nectar TV. Stay safe.